Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Art of Selling Travel podcast. And for the very first time, we're now creating these episodes to be live on our YouTube. So if you prefer to watch us on YouTube, come over, say hi. But I actually figured that this was probably the most fitting episode to launch the YouTube channel with. And so here's the thing. We're going to talk about what it means to fly under the radar, to, not be seen, and possibly what it means to hide in your business. And I know that it takes a lot to build up the confidence to really put yourself out there. And in fact, it's not even just the confidence, but rather getting past some of these stories that have built our lives, that have formed in childhood, went on through our teenage years, and then through every stage of life as we've gone. You might not consider yourself somebody who hides. And it's possible that you aren't even somebody who does hide. Maybe you are very proudly out there, but I'm willing to bet there's a really good chance that there's at least part of your world that you're keeping hidden away, tucked away. And the reason we do that is to keep ourselves safe, to keep ourselves from fears and judgments and ridicule and all of these other things that might happen. I actually was working with one of my business coaches recently here, and it came to light through the progress of conversation that I have this fear of being seen. And as I work through it, that's when I went, oh yeah, that would make a good podcast episode. And more importantly, to just kind of, as the saying goes, balls to the wall and put it on the YouTube and get going with the YouTube because it's been on my list for far too freaking long. We've had the channel, I think, for 2 or 3 years already, and we put on little things and we have some private links that we use for webinar replays or things of that nature. But to actually embrace it and logically, the logical part of my brain, I understand that it increases the SEO. I understand that it is long form content that has a long shelf life. That if I would have just done this 3 years ago when I first started the channel, I can't imagine how many videos I would have out there, how much content I would have out there, how much I could have been searched. But instead, I liked what was happening in my business because it was manageable and it was calm and it was quiet. And here's the deal. If I didn't step too far out there, then I couldn't be judged. I didn't have to worry about others, other coaches, other industry, other whatever coming and having an opinion of me. And guess what? That kept me small. That kept me at an okay income, but it didn't give me what I wanted. And, for a lot of people, income is what they're after, this, that, the other. For me, it was impact. I have huge goals that are all centered around impact. And yet I wasn't willing to put myself out there far enough to have that impact. And then in 2024, I can't believe we're in 25 already, my heavens. But in 2024, I had the opportunity to go and travel. I spoke in 4 different countries in 2024 on numerous stages, on virtual stages, in-person stages. It was absolutely fantastic. And I got to talk with travel advisors who are just like you with the same struggles, the same questions, and the same issues. And I realized that if I chose to play small, I couldn't have an impact. I couldn't help them. I couldn't be out there for them to see, for them to be able to get help. And see, that's what happens with your clients. When you play small, when you fly under the radar, that's what a friend of mine said when I was telling her what had come out of my coaching call. She's like, well, you've done a really good job of flying under the radar. Like, you've done really well for yourself considering you've flown under the radar. And that so perfectly summed it up. It was under the radar. The people who knew, it was sort of that, if you know, you know, but it wasn't everybody else. And so it takes a long time to get that swell going. I had built a huge travel agency. I had built a wildly successful travel agency. I had built a travel agency with, at one point, I think we were, I don't even remember anymore. We were more than a dozen advisors between my inside team and my outside team, my independent contractors versus my employees. We had a 2-story building where the second floor was our training center. I did amazing with it. I had so much fun. I got to work with these travel advisors that were on my team to help them grow and build. And so I've already kind of been there. And yet I come into this business and I kind of let some of that BS, the backstory, or, you know, however else you refer to BS, take over and let it tell some of the story. And so while I did a great job of flying under the radar, it also meant that there were wild amounts of frustration of wanting to know, why are other people doing this and I'm not? What is happening here, but why am I not growing? Why is this going on, but that's not happening? See, when you fly under the radar, you're actually hiding. And the funny thing is we don't think of it as hiding. Just sort of like when it's time for the family photo, when you're at the Grand Canyon or you're wherever you are, and you're like, it's okay, I'll take the photo. You know, how many moms looking back don't have many photos of them in the photo? Because we're like, no, I'll just take a picture of you. I'll take a picture of you guys. Don't worry. I just want to take the pictures. How many times are you standing behind the camera? How many times are you standing behind whatever it is that means that nobody sees you? Because then you can fly under the radar, because with those photos of that family trip to Hawaii or to wherever, you have these amazing photos of people having a wonderful time. And the thing that's missing from the photo was you. But see, you were able to say, no, I was there. I took the photo. So I know we had a great time. We all got to experience this, but you flew under the radar. I wonder what that looks like in your business. What are some of those backstory BSing type stories that you're telling yourself? One that I know that I am absolutely guilty of as I'm embarking on this YouTube path. In fact, I just recorded a podcast this morning that I'm going to release in a week. And my first thought was, oh, shoot, I have to go change because I can't wear the same outfit on 2 videos back to back. Well, first off, that's ludicrous, because I don't own enough clothing, or like what I would call good clothing, to be able to wear a new top or a new outfit for every single episode for an entire year. And again, some people might be like, that's only 52 outfits. That's 52 outfits. I don't have a closet that big because, one, I work from home, so I'm not normally seen a lot. But the other thing is how does that also play out? Because then mentally in my head, I'm like, oh yeah. And I want to do a bunch of bulk videos so that I can have a bunch of social media content built up and this, that, the other. But I'm like, but I can't do that. I got to go change my outfit. Like, okay, but if I don't have 52 outfits to be seen, I don't have 365 outfits to be seen on social media. But really and truly, who cares? Nobody's watching this for whatever amazing fashion I have, because that's not my jam. I'm here to help you build a travel business. I am here to help you understand why your travel business might not be growing at the pace that you want it to grow at, why your travel business isn't getting you the results that you want it to get. And the reality is that if you're listening to this, there is a very good chance it is because you aren't getting the results that you want. Right now, I'm going through reading the book 10X is Easier Than 2X. And I am a big believer that things show up in your life when they're supposed to. And I have heard about this book for the last couple of years in a lot of groups that I'm a part of, and this, that, the other. I hear lots about it. But this about a week and a half ago, it was suggested in a group, and it was suggested so many times that it hit just right that not only did I order it, I moved it ahead of about the 387 other books that I have on my nightstand. Yes, my name is Glenda. I have a problem with books sitting on my nightstand because I like to collect them. But the reality is, though, is that I started reading this book, and it was talking about you can 2x, but the only way you can 2x your results is by efforting, is by pushing through, by shoving it, by forcing it, by getting it. And that's absolutely exhausting. If you want to completely change the trajectory of your life, of your business, of whatever, you've got to think 10x. And you can't 10x with the thought processes that got you to here. You can force a 2x out of your current thought processes, but you're going to work your buns off. It's taking an entirely different approach to get you to the 10x. You've got to think of it completely different. You have to get rid of 80% of the things that are consuming you that aren't moving the needle and focus exclusively on that 20%. You know, we've all heard the 80-20 rule, and this really and truly brought it to a whole other perspective. What is the 20% that you can do that can grow your business? That 20% might just be showing up. It is definitely moving from being able to fly under the radar to totally getting yourself up and over the radar. So my question for you is, going forward, what are you going to do in your business differently? What are you going to do to show up differently, to be seen in your business? I had to face what it was that was keeping me flying under the radar. Who specifically's judgment was I scared of? Who was I concerned would judge me? Who was I concerned that would have something to say? What did I think they were going to say? And then came the moment where I had to ask, why the hell do they get that much power over me? Why is that person allowed to have that kind of control? Why is that person with that judgment even remotely qualified to be able to determine what's possible for me? I will tell you, since shifting the way that I think about that, I have had these amazing enlightened moments where I just vision myself. I'm not even thinking of it. It just came to me where I vision what my business looks like. And the wildest thing is that in those moments, I know what I'm doing. I know that to get the impact that I want to have for the travel community, to be able to help them grow, we're doing YouTube. We are showing up on YouTube. We are showing up on other platforms. We are showing the freak up. So here's my question for you. If you have a vision for your business, what does that look like? If your vision is a dollar amount, what does somebody doing that role, doing that dollar figure, doing that type of clients, doing that type of business, what does that look like? And how is it that you can start showing up that way now? Because you can't just keep doing what you're doing over and over and over and over again and thinking or believing that that's going to get you to that 10x level. I had to really and truly look at, if this is what the business I want to build is, what's it going to take to be there? What is there look like? What does there have going on? What does there have for marketing? See, you can't complain about marketing when you don't have any clients, when you know that this is what you want to have, that you want to have this 7-figure travel agency, A 7-figure travel agency owner markets. A 7-figure travel agency owner has built an email list. 7-figure travel agency owner has built a website. There's all of these things that go into it. They're not using somebody to copy and paste things. They're not using a service that's just going to auto post on their behalf and push out whatever is going on. They have built a marketing program. They have built out their entire marketing strategy, their sales strategy. They know what they want to sell, who they want to sell it to, and they just get it done. I have looked at the type of business I want to run. I have looked at the level of impact that I want to have in the travel community, and that is now what we are building. So I challenge you, look at what you're doing right now. Look at where you want to be and ask yourself, is what you are doing today the skills, the talent, the processes that are going to get you to where you want to be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? Because if it's not, then it needs to start today. It's just a matter of being 1% different today, 1% more today than you were yesterday, 1% more tomorrow than you were today. And let those shifts start. And then figure out what are those stories, that those BS, those backstories that are holding you back. So yes, today, if you were watching me on YouTube, I am wearing a blue sweater. I promise you, you will see this sweater again. Next week, I'll be wearing something burgundy and you will see it multiple times over. That can't be what holds us back. We're never going to lose the 50 pounds or 100 pounds or whatever it is that we want to lose before we go on camera. Don't let that hold you back. Don't let these stories be the thing that's preventing you from putting yourself out there. You're never going to know enough if what you're telling yourself is, I just need to know a little bit more, because that goalpost is constantly moving. So what are you going to start doing differently today? And then what will you continue doing differently tomorrow? Until next time, happy selling.